Have you ever noticed how you rarely feel a spark for people who are emotionally stable, predictable, and clean of drama? Instead, your brain acts like a high-precision radar, scanning the room and immediately locking onto the ones who are distant, slightly broken, or carrying a visible aura of unspoken pain. You meet them, and something inside you lights up. You whisper to yourself, "I can understand them. I can help them. My love will be the one thing that finally fixes them." But let's be entirely honest with each other for a moment. How many times has this script actually ended well for you? We have been conditioned by movies and books to believe that fixing a broken person is the ultimate form of romance. We call it empathy. We call it unconditional love. But in the quiet hours of the night, when you are lying awake wondering why they pulled away again, you know it feels less like love and more like an addiction. There is a psychological reason why you keep turning your relationships into rehabilitation centers. And the truth behind it isn't beautiful. It's terrifying. To understand why you do this, we have to look at a concept known in psychology as the savior complex. On the surface, the savior looks like a saint. You are the dependable one, the listener, the fixer. You enter a relationship and immediately take on the role of an emotional mechanic. You look at your partner not for who they are today, but for their hypothetical potential. You tell yourself, once they get through this dark phase, once they heal from their past, they will be perfect. But notice what happens to the power dynamic here. When you make it your job to fix someone, you unconsciously create a system where they must remain broken for you to feel secure. Think about it. If they suddenly healed completely, became fully independent, and no longer needed your guidance, your advice, or your comfort, who would you be to them? What would your purpose be? This is the first deep illusion of the savior complex. You aren't actually fighting for their recovery. You are fighting to stay indispensable, because as long as they need you, they cannot leave you. But where does this desperate need to be indispensable come from? It didn't start with your current partner or your last ex. It started in a house you lived in years ago, when you were much smaller. Imagine a young child growing up in an environment where love wasn't a given, but a currency. Perhaps you had a parent who was chronically depressed, volatile, or emotionally absent. As a child, you quickly realized that just being yourself wasn't enough to get attention, safety, or warmth. You had to earn it. You became the hyper-vigilant observer, learning to read the subtle shifts in your parents' moods before they even spoke. You learned that you were valued only when you were useful, when you quieted your own needs to suit theirs, when you became the peacekeeper, the perfect student, the emotional caretaker. In that childhood home, your brain formed a dangerous, deeply wired equation. To be needed is to be safe. To be useful is to be loved. Fast forward 20 years. You're an adult now, navigating the dating world. When you meet someone healthy, calm, and available, your brain doesn't know what to do. There are no fires to put out. There is no chaos to manage. There is no performance required. To an overthinker raised on emotional survival, peace feels incredibly boring. Worse, it feels unsafe. Your subconscious thinks, if they don't need me to fix them, then I have no value here. It's only a matter of time before they realize I'm not enough and abandon me. So you reject peace, and you seek out the familiar architecture of your childhood trauma. You find someone who is emotionally unavailable, struggling, or distant. Your inner child looks at them and thinks, finally, a familiar puzzle. If I can just perform well enough, if I can fix this person, I will finally prove that I am worthy of love. This is what psychologists call a repetition compulsion. You are using an adult relationship to try and rewrite a childhood script that you lost. You are trying to finally win the approval of a distant parent by fixing a distant partner. You spend months, sometimes years, pouring your identity into this project. You excuse their coldness, you validate their disrespect, and you absorb their anger, labeling it as helping them through their trauma. You become their therapist, their parent, and their shield against the world. You sacrifice your boundaries, your sleep, and your mental health, driving yourself to the brink of exhaustion. And here is the tragic twist. The moment you finally exhaust yourself completely, the moment you realize you cannot change them, and you ask for just a fraction of the support you've been giving, they turn around and tell you that you are suffocating them. They accuse you of being controlling, and they are right. This is the hardest pill to swallow for a savior. Your desire to fix them was never entirely selfless. It was a subtle, masked form of control. By trying to change them into the version you wanted, you weren't accepting them. You were rejecting who they actually were. You were trying to control the relationship so you wouldn't have to face the terrifying vulnerability of being seen for just who you are, without your tools, without your utility. You are so busy trying to fix their life because it is the perfect distraction from fixing your own. As long as their problems are loud and urgent, you never have to look into the mirror and ask the most painful question an overthinker can face. Who am I when I am not being useful? The truth is, you cannot fix someone who doesn't see a problem with their own ruin. You cannot love someone into wholeness when they are actively choosing to stay broken. Every ounce of energy you spend trying to rebuild them is energy you are stealing from your own healing. The next time you feel that intense, familiar pull towards someone you need to rescue, I want you to pause. Take a deep breath, look past their chaos, look past their potential, and turn that gaze back onto yourself. Ask yourself, what am I trying to avoid facing within me right now? What is the wound in me that is crying out for the exact same care, attention, and patience that I am so desperately trying to give to a stranger? It is time to take all that beautiful, fierce, protective love that you have been wasting on people who don't want to change, and give it back to the one person who has been waiting for it your entire life. Yourself. Stop trying to fix the world and start choosing to heal the fixer.